Hello, neighbors. I am Mayor Raul Elias. Welcome to the annual City of Pico Rivera State of the City presentation. Our State of the City touches on our city's accomplished past, our remarkable present, and our ambitious future. As we see the evolution of Pico Rivera over time, there's one thing that is certain. We will achieve our future success. According to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we are not makers of history, we are made by our history. Let's recall some of the city's historic accomplishments and the unique standards of value, love of family and country, and our outstanding work ethic and pride that will drive us towards a bright, successful future. Pico Rivera was once acres of agricultural land. Following the end of World War II, large parcels of land were purchased and cleared for the development of tract homes. The opportunities of jobs and home ownership attracted many World War II and Korean War veterans to call Pico Rivera home. Our city was built by veterans and the GI Bill of Rights. The military and Latino traditions of hard work, discipline, and extreme loyalty spilled over to our city's athletic programs. El Rancho High School's athletic programs were recognized throughout the country. El Rancho High School's football team had the most wins of any school in the state in the 1960s. Pico Rivera was truly regarded statewide as a city of champions and leaders. It is no wonder that our first-class labor supply attracted the Ford Motor Plant. Over 1.4 million Ford cars were produced before the assembly plant closed its doors in 1980. As these images transitioned from black and white into color, they symbolize the dramatic changes our city underwent. Pico Rivera continuously found ways to innovate and reinvent itself. When the Ford plant closed, within 2 years, Pico Rivera became the site of the Northrop Corporation facilities. Employees worked on the state-of-the-art, most sophisticated stealth defense weapons in the world during the Cold War. The B-2 stealth bomber soon replaced the production of automobiles. The plant employed over 9,000 workers at the height of its production, and like the Ford plant, represented a significant portion of the regional economy with its technical and extremely high-paying jobs. With the end of the Cold War, Northrop shut its doors in 1993. Our city once again lost a huge slice of our tax base. Our city once again had to pivot and adapt to a changing economy. Our culture of resiliency was challenged once again. After a couple of years of development, the Pico Rivera Town Center started to take shape in what once was the former Ford and Northrop sites. Today, it is home to one of the city's most robust shopping centers. It is important to highlight our past to understand how our city council and management has established council priorities as the guiding principles to create a roadmap for our city's long-term vision. And as a result of this, I am proud to say we are establishing our city's first 5-year strategic plan. These city council priorities include fiscal sustainability, public safety, organizational stability, infrastructure, land use, and economic development. By addressing the fiscal sustainability, we are building the foundation to address the rest of our City Council's priorities. Our operating revenue estimates for fiscal year 2021 is just over $43 million. The majority of general fund revenue comes from 3 sources: sales tax, property tax, and utility users tax. Sales tax represents half of our general fund revenue. This is why it's critical for the city to diversify its revenue streams in order to make the city less vulnerable to shifts in the local economy. This is especially the case when faced with unforeseen circumstances such as the COVID-19 pandemic. The general fund expenditures for fiscal year 2021 are estimated at just over $40.3 million. Our uncompromising commitment to public safety continues to represent our largest expenditure year after year. After that, public works, our roads, our infrastructure continues to be the second greatest expense, with our parks and programming coming in third. The city has made difficult decisions in order to pass a balanced budget that focuses on addressing the council priorities. We raised our general fund reserve policy from 25 to 50, which protects our future. In addition, we now have a 2-year projected budget to more accurately and conservatively budget and manage our priorities. In no time in the city's history have we focused so intensely on building a financial management system and team. The city is facing several fiscal challenges as seen here. The COVID-19 pandemic was devastating to an already challenged financial system. Once more, we are facing a major economic and health challenge that would require us to do what the city has always done: identify opportunities to achieve fiscal sustainability by innovation, resilience, and discipline. I am proud to state that our fiscal and organizational efforts have landed Pico Rivera at the top 30% of all cities in California for its designation as a low-risk city. We ranked higher and stronger than our 10 neighboring and peer cities. We displayed strong fiscal health in general fund reserves, liquidity, and pension benefits. As we plan for the city's fiscal future, we are confident that we will continue improving our strength in these areas. In line with our City Council priorities, at the beginning of this year as mayor, I established 4 primary standing ad hoc committees to address the impacts of the COVID-19 crisis on the Pico Rivera community. They are health, public safety, community services, and economic recovery. While these ad hoc committees were established during the COVID-19 pandemic, they provided a working structure to help us address ongoing challenges far beyond the pandemic. The City of Pico Rivera Council is one of the hardest working councils in Southern California. In 2020, the world experienced the beginning of a global pandemic that impacted the lives of all. The pandemic imposed a series of profound challenges that truly tested our city's resolve. Almost overnight, economic activity across many industries was interrupted. The COVID-19 pandemic was a social and economic crisis just as much as it was a health crisis. The city's Latino population is over 91%, and the Pico Rivera community was hard hit. According to the CDC, Latinos were hospitalized from the virus at 4 times the rate of white Americans. As public servants, we learn the burdens of having to pivot and expand services to address a new reality of economic, health, and social inequities. We quickly jumped into action to deal with the systematic inequities that made the crisis so much harder and so much deadlier to our communities of color. As we will see in the next slides, we address access to testing, vaccines, personal protective equipment, PPE, food insecurity, and other challenges. With the immediate closures and stay-at-home orders, the Pico Rivera community found itself once again having to innovate and reinvent how it went about conducting business. As city officials, we led the charge against COVID-19 with a variety of actions to flatten the curve, expand services to our community in innovative ways, and address the needs of our most vulnerable populations. We were one of the first cities in Los Angeles County to provide COVID-19 testing. We performed over 4,000 COVID-19 tests and provided tens of thousands of PPE for our community. We were instrumental in helping roll out vaccinations to our residents and continue to do so today. We addressed food insecurity with food drives and meal distributions to our most vulnerable populations. Over 270,000 pounds of food were distributed in partnership with local organizations. Our emergency senior meal program delivered over 13,000 meals. We created a virtual recreation programming to keep engaged with our community during this pandemic. and made resources available to them around the clock. We moved forward with plans to build a mini soccer field to add additional open space for our youth in order to address physical and mental health. We rolled out a veteran census to identify veterans in the city. The survey will help the city provide veterans information for events, benefits, and resources to ensure we're taking care of our men and women who have valiantly served our country. And our senior center is also receiving much-needed improvements. It is undergoing renovations, including ADA accessibility. As mentioned earlier, our public safety budget accounts for nearly 1/3 of our operating general budget. Although this is a substantial amount, public safety will continue to be a priority. Our investment has been well spent, as in 2020 we saw a 22% reduction in violent and property crimes. We have also taken other proactive measures to increase the eyes on the street and promote safety across our community. We completed our LED street lighting project, which was a substantial endeavor that will provide cost savings to the city in the long term, and also ensure our streets are well lit and dark areas minimized. We also installed security cameras at Rio Hondo Park, and we are proactively looking for ways to extend this to other areas. I have been committed to public safety from day one and understand that this is a priority for all of you who live, work, shop, and invest in Pico Rivera. Also, while other cities have seen an increase in homelessness, our city has seen a reduction in our homeless count from 214 to 170. This is in large part due to the fact that we have a deputy dedicated to our homeless population that deploys a humanitarian approach to connect homeless individuals to social services, including mental health services. The unprecedented challenges caused by COVID-19 pandemic have necessitated the need to shift and pivot quickly to respond to our economic needs of our community. When we talk about economic recovery, we don't just refer to raising revenues, but also to improvements to our infrastructure and land use, which are critical components to economic development. As you can see here, the challenges facing us in terms of economic development, infrastructure, and land use are formidable. The city has over 137 miles of street maintenance, 112 miles of aging sewer lines, and 8 water wells in need of filtration systems. Add to this anticipated 67% reduction in park space by next year due to the Whittier Narrows Dam project, and the fact that we must meet a state-mandated number of housing units built, we have our work cut out for us. While we are addressing these challenges one at a time, our accomplishments are many. At the height of COVID-19 pandemic, we provided critical assistance to our business community. We expedited outdoor dining permits for our businesses, provided real-time information to our business community on grants available, guided businesses on public health orders, and spotlighted the businesses via the Shop and Dine Pico Rivera program. Additionally, we launched a $200,000 small business grant program and will be leveraging additional resources for a second round. We are working with developers to create new diversified streams of income to fund our priorities. We are also being intentional in finding ways that we can add to local hiring components to incentivize hiring of our residential workforce. In fact, we recently launched a workforce development survey to local businesses to identify skill sets needed and the areas of growth, and are working with our educational institutions to explore ways in which we can make curriculum and training more relevant for our robust local workforce. During this past year, we also made strides in aligning our City Council priorities with notable accomplishments. We still know very well the work ahead of us is monumental, but when we see how far we have come, we are reignited with a sense of purpose and excitement for what the future has in store for Pico Rivera. While some may see these pictures and think, what do these three images have to do with each other? The pictures here all illustrate in one slide Pico Rivera's past, present, and future. I urge you to consider not only what Pico Rivera may be like in the next 2, 5, and 10 years, but what legacy Pico Rivera can continue to build for generations to come. We are a city with resilience, a city with a tradition of performance and excellence, and a city with a strong work ethic. The next step underway includes the development of a 5-year strategic plan and is crucial to the city's long-term success, as it will allow you and the community to help build the vision for the city's goals and priorities for the near and long-term future. I challenge you to all think big. From sprawling acres of citrus, avocado, and walnut groves, to then a significant regional economy centered on automobile production and defense weapon production, to its current economy centered on resiliency and economic diversification. The future of Pico Rivera is bright. And I leave you with this Edward R. Murrow quote: "Difficulty is the excuse history never accepts." Although our vision for Pico Rivera's future may seem difficult to achieve, if we look at how far we have come since the humble beginnings, the advancements we have made, and the resiliency and character of our families have shown, our future is undoubtedly promising. We will succeed because our values, our tradition of success, and our loyalty to family and neighbors, and our strong work ethic will succeed because we are Pico Rivera. Thank you for your time.